I've been doing a lot of thinking lately. I know, that's why the smoke's coming out of my ears. Not really a lot goes up here, by the way, just giving you guys a heads up on that. But during that time, I've been thinking about the gaming industry overall and really where things have been going wrong. And I think the biggest thing that people are in fact missing in the gaming space right now, and why so many people feel like a market crash is going to be coming, is because of ballooning budgets in video games. Now, Jason Schreier put out a video recently talking about the cost of game development and why games cost so much money. The thing is, he's right, but I think to a point. I think what we're seeing right now is the fact that so many games on their own are costing an exorbitant amount of money because game companies and developers and publishers don't want to make video games. I think they want to make movies disguised as video games. And that really cannot be more apparent than the screenshots we've been seeing recently about how in God of War Lo-Fei, or Luffy, however you want to call it, I really don't care, they were actually using an actor to mocap a cube. I want you guys to think about that for a second. They literally paid the actor who was doing the voice of the character that is a cube to mocap the cube. Of all things to do, literally anything you could do in Blender, they wanted to pay somebody to do it instead, putting them in a PVC pipe suit and making them walk around as if that was going to be enough of what was going on. They could have had anybody do that, but they decided to use that actor instead and to pay him to do it as well. On top of that, all the insane usage of licensed music, then having games delisted, hiring other actors as well for face scans across the board, and then you have a pure recipe for disaster with every other major game company literally being in some of the most expensive cities in the entire United States or even the planet in order to make video games. When in 2026, you could have remote workers in other parts of the country pay a lot less and not have to worry about the insane labor costs that companies and developers are dealing with right now. And I think what's going to exemplify this entire thing is going to be two specific examples in games. And both of these games were announced last week during Xbox's showcase. And it really shows, in my opinion, how the gaming industry not only has no idea what is in fact happening in the gaming space, but also they have no idea about what gamers in fact actually want to play. And I think this disconnect is going to cause a lot of problems overall and really bring about what I would consider to be the second crash in video games. Because according to The Gamer saying this, Gears of War E-Day reportedly cost an eye-watering $400 million to develop. But can it recoup that cost without PlayStation 5? Now, here's the thing. We've been seeing a lot of insane, let's say, ramblings and a lot of fanboy headlines about what Xbox is doing with Gears of War E-Day being exclusive, saying how it's not going to survive if it's not put on PlayStation. Everyone from IGN, Digital Foundry, and every other major news outlet is talking how Xbox is not allowed to have exclusives because people don't have enough Xboxes. Yet at the same time, we're witnessing and seeing those exact same people celebrate PlayStation, pulling away their games from the PC platform, even though one is a rumor and the other one is in fact confirmed. So it really goes to show the insane dichotomy and even fanboy behavior in the actual gaming space right now, and even the journalism space as well. Truly one of the more sad things to see. But I think the crazier part is the fact that game budgets are not decreasing, they're increasing, and it's going to be a hell of a wild ride. With the article from Games Radar saying this, quote, Gears of War E-Day's budget is insane. I've heard upwards of $400 million, Insider Gaming's Tom Henderson reported on a recent podcast. For comparison, as per leaked internal documents, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 cost roughly $300 million to develop and needed to sell 7.2 million copies at full price to break even. The best-selling entry in the series, Gears of War 2, released in 2008, sold 6.75 million copies. It's hard to imagine E-Day surpassing that figure, especially in today's climate. Xbox is in a self-proclaimed hardware crisis due to the component shortage spurred on by AI data centers, meaning the console giant cannot meet the current demand. The Xbox Series X and S is also lagging behind PS5 significantly, with 32 million consoles sold versus Sony's 75 million. Worryingly, E-Day is an Xbox exclusive, limiting its reach significantly, but even with a PS5 port, it's hard to imagine the game breaking even on that budget. With Tom Henderson saying, quote, "Let's be honest, it probably wasn't going to make the money even if it was on PlayStation, but it's definitely not going like who's buying an Xbox and Game Pass for Gears. No one, in my opinion," Henderson said, and there's no Xboxes to buy anywhere because they can't make any more. Now, here's the thing. Even if you disagree with Tom Henderson about what he said comparing Xbox console sales and whether or not Gears of War E-Day will be a system seller, really isn't the point. The point that I want to charge home about what he said is that even if the game was releasing on PS5, it'd be very difficult for them to, in fact, break even. We're not talking about Spider-Man, who's a household name and had to sell those 7 million copies to break even on a $300 million budget. Having Marvel, having marketing, having everything across the board that needed to be pushed in order to make Spider-Man break even is exactly what people are not willing to pay. And those people are in fact publishers and even game developers. Game budgets exceedingly costing way too much money. Too many games are flopping or being canceled, and many others, strangely enough, are still in development. Fair games being changed to break-in, even though that's a factor overall. Games like Marathon still existing with 10 to 13,000 players, even though Destiny 2 was literally mogging everybody across the board on the 9th of June, literally showcasing to the entire gaming industry that I think they have no clue what kind of games people, in fact, actually want to play. And they're literally ignoring entire swaths of fan bases eager to spend money and eager to play a new video game if they just went back and realized that people just want to play something fun. And if you think I'm wrong and if you think I'm lying, take a look at this. Here's the trailer for Spyro: A Realm Beyond, the cinematic announcement trailer. At the time of this recording, sitting at a comfortable 16 million views on YouTube. Just to give you guys some perspective about how great that kind of view score actually is and really what people are in fact looking for, God of War Lo Fei, that other game that everybody was talking about as well, whether or not you want to play it or not, is sitting at 7 million views on YouTube. Think about that for a second. Spyro, a game about a purple dragon being a platformer, a genre that people have claimed that is completely dead in the gaming space right now, is literally going above double in view counts on YouTube simply by going back after nostalgia and giving people exactly the kind of game they want and making them excited about it. So if the hype still continues for Spyro, you could be seeing a huge profit on Toys for Bob, especially when they're developing this game. But the thing is, it doesn't stop there. And really, this next bit should show exactly that Microsoft and many other companies are going in the wrong direction of what kind of video games actually make money and truly are what people want to play. Because also, according to Games Radar saying this, Spyro: A Realm Beyond dev says the loud and consistent fans helped manifest the series' new game. With the article saying this, speaking to Games Radar Plus, Lou Studdert, Associate Creative Director on Spyro: A Realm Beyond, and Paul Yen, Studio Head at Toys for Bob, were asked why the studio chose to return to the Spyro series for its collaboration with Microsoft. While the team has worked on the franchise before, many wondered if the previously announced collab would be a new Banjo-Kazooie or any other game franchise Microsoft owns, including Crash Bandicoot, which Toys for Bob led development of for its last 2 games. Saying, quote, "Honestly, Spyro has kind of a deep place in our studio's heart," Studdert explains, referencing work on the Skylanders franchise, as well as the Spyro Reignited trilogy, he adds. "We've always admired that kind of small but mighty underdog story of the character that's taking on these overwhelming odds, We see ourselves in that a little bit, and honestly, it was just a no-brainer." Meanwhile, Yan notes that the studio was a bit more confident with the idea of taking on Spyro. Going independent was taking on a massive risk, right? It's taking a bet on ourselves, he says, adding, quote, "We knew coming out of Reignited that title sold over 11 million copies. So there's an audience that woke up to show up for that series." Now, I want you to stop and take a breath for a second. I know that number is like making your head spin a little bit. 11 million copies for a Spyro Reignited trilogy? How on earth did that even happen? Here's the crazier part, by the way, where things are going to get even more insane for you and what's actually happening. Think about it from this perspective. PlayStation had to spend $300 million to make Spider-Man sell over 7.2 million copies before they turned a profit. Toys for Bob slapped together the Reignited trilogy of Spyro and blasted out Spider-Man by over 4 million copies, selling 11 million units on just a platforming game, a Spyro game, a game that was only popular during the PlayStation 1 generation back in the 90s. If this doesn't tell you exactly that the actual idea of game budgets are completely out of control, I don't know what will. It also tells me directly that so many game companies have no clue what their audience in fact wants, have no idea what is in fact happening, and truly don't understand their own customers at all. Watching as a game like Spyro and its trilogy being remastered and selling that amount of units and completely destroying so many other games really goes to show that this industry can totally thrive off of the existing IPs that we've all grown up with, especially if they're treated with care and even respect. Game studios like Night Dive, who go around and remaster all those classic games and bring them forward into this space, modifying them just enough and giving them enough quality of life to make them even better playing, is exactly what people are looking for. You don't need to have $100 million budgets. You don't have to have actors in PVC pipe dressed up as a cube to mocap. What you need right now is just a good video game that people in fact enjoy, and putting the heart and focus of that game as the gameplay center itself. And that's what's going to make games so successful in this space. If companies like Microsoft, PlayStation, and Nintendo want to talk about game sales being sold or the amount of people not buying video games, but then ignore what Spyro has done, that's going to be a massive red flag for this industry. And it really points to me in my direction that the AAA gaming space is not going to be able to survive and is, in my opinion, not sustainable. And the only thing that will survive with the second crash coming will more than likely be AA and even independent games as well. With the article saying this, quote, "Every year, every gaming event, we hear the fan base show up like, when is there going to be a new Spyro title? Even before we had even pitched this," Yan explains. This in turn helped the studio in pitching the new title. When we came up to Xbox and said, "Listen, here's our plan," we said, "Look, there's a community. It's loud and consistent. They know what they want. You're here to make this game. What else do you need? Let's get this thing going." And you know what? That's exactly what we're going to be seeing, is other development studios walking up and saying, look at this community, look at these people. They're going to buy the game because they keep asking for it. What else do you need? And this really shines a light into the actual gaming space, and in my opinion, the complete insanity of what gaming has been dealing with right now. You don't need consistent monetization practices. You don't have to nickel and dime your audience every 5 seconds. You don't need a live service plan, a battle pass, an online pass, or anything else across that board. All you need is to make a good video game. And if you do that, the people will in fact show up. And the examples for that are numerous. Expedition 33, massive success. A budget of a couple of baguettes, string cheese, and a can of beans. Literally outpaced the entire gaming industry. Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered, walking around and selling a ton of copies at $50, mind you. Again, every other major indie game that you've seen. Subnautica as well. Baldur's Gate 3, another one. In fact, Baldur's Gate 3 was so massive that the gaming industry literally recoiled in fear, thinking they could never in fact keep up with what Larian was doing. And to make matters even crazier, look at Elden Ring on top of that. Games that respect the player's time. Games that respect the player in general, and don't try to nickel and dime them every single moment. You do that, you focus on the consumer, you make a product that people want to play, and it turns out it's going to sell millions of copies. No insane marketing needed, no subways full of Spider-Man, no insane commercials all the time. All you need is just a game that people, in fact, want to play. And this also points me in another direction as well. What are these companies doing with all these IPs and literally just sitting on them, doing nothing at all? Xbox is sitting on a treasure trove, a gold mine of IPs ready to be made directly for their user base. I've talked about this consistently. The world could use a new prototype game. Literally, everybody's been asking for it. People on PlayStation have been asking for another Infamous game, ready to go at any time, or another Killzone, or another Resistance, or anything across the board. What they don't want is another 5v5 class-based live service shooter that you're going to pump out every 5 minutes to go ahead and monetize them across the board. Marathon didn't do that for them, clearly not. Highguard didn't do it for anybody else, and certainly Concord didn't do them any favors either. We can see all the failures across the board, and yet all of a sudden the industry is ignoring every other major success. I think what the view count for Spyro on YouTube, what the 11 million sales of the Reignited trilogy actually show, and the insane excitement for what the new Spyro game is going to be, clearly shows the industry is sitting on a gold mine of IPs doing nothing with them. And the best way they can in fact test to make sure what game is going to be successful is simply remaster it and put it out. That's all they got to do. Oh, this one sold a couple million copies. There's a possibility there that we can go ahead and make a new title in that franchise. Oh, this old game did this? Absolutely. Let's pump into that too. You don't have to over monetize your audience. You don't have to sit there and try to compete with TikTok and YouTube and Netflix and try to make gaming into a commodity. All you have to do is make a product and a title and a game that people in fact want to play. And there's so many more examples I can come up with in this space right now. In fact, games like Mecha Chameleon are storming the actual Steam charts with hundreds of thousands of people playing that game, and it was made by just a couple of people who wanted to play hide and seek. But it's blowing up. It's actually astounding to me, and honestly kind of embarrassing that this industry that I've grown up with has no idea what I want as a consumer. And I myself and many others have been telling them to their face, even with our own money, this is the game I want to play. We buy it. This is the game I don't want to play. We don't buy it. And then we get asked, why didn't you buy the game? Was it the marketing? Was it the character? No, because it didn't interest me. It wasn't an IP that I know, or the IP that I did know, it wasn't done very well. And I think that's the problem. Too many developers, too many studios, too many publishers want an easy way out. And I think that's going to be the issue of what we're seeing right now. Too many times we've noticed that the big AAA gaming space, in my opinion, is not made for us. It's not made for gamers. It's made for the casual Andy consumer that wants games as movies. They want games to be cinematic. They want games to walk them through the stage. And it turns out there is a massive audience of people that don't want that. They want the game to be a video game, to have what made them enjoy it in the first place, to engage with the mechanics of that game, and to be made by people who enjoy not only the hobby, the title, the characters, but also the audience as well. And once more developers and studios see that, and they capitalize on it, you're going to be seeing a very different gaming industry. And as always, I want to hear what you guys got to say about this in the comments section down below. Do you think Spyro is in fact a warning for the gaming industry? Or do you feel like this entire thing will fall on deaf ears and the only way things will change is if the industry itself continues to keep on with its actual failures until finally the curtain calls? With all that being said though, if you guys want to see more of this kind of content, subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, probably right now at this moment in time, I'm probably streaming as well. So if you want to see that, come on down to the live stream and check this out. With all that being said though, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.